Welcome to The Explainer, where we break down the complex forces shaping our world.
At first glance, those two things seem worlds apart, right? But the answer, well, it uncovers this incredibly fragile dependency, a weak link hiding right at the heart of our entire digital world. So yeah, let's dive in.
All right, so our story kicks off in the Strait of Hormuz. Now, if you know your geography, you know this is a massive maritime choke point. And for 6 weeks, a conflict there has been sending these huge shockwaves through global energy markets.
And things escalated fast. By early April 2026, Iran's IRG, that's the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, they basically took control of the strait. And that created this super tense standoff. You've got high-stakes diplomacy happening over here and military muscle flexing happening right alongside it.
So, where does the U.S. stand? Well, they've drawn a very clear line in the sand. President Trump came out and said it publicly. Any talk of a ceasefire, any kind of de-escalation is completely off the table until that strait is, and I quote, open, free, and clear. No ambiguity there.
But on the other side, Iran is pushing back. They're publicly calling those ceasefire claims false and baseless. And what that does is it hardens their position, right? It creates this diplomatic logjam, a stalemate, that's got the entire region just holding its breath.
Okay, but here's where the story takes a turn. The biggest global impact of this whole thing, it isn't just about oil tankers getting stuck. No, it's about the damage to one single, incredibly critical facility, Qatar's Ras Laffan complex.
And look, this is not just some random industrial park. This place is the linchpin for two massive and what you'd think are totally unrelated global supply chains. The damage right here, this is the moment that connects a regional conflict in the Middle East to the future of Silicon Valley.
First up, the helium shock. Just try to wrap your head around the scale of this. One facility gets hit and bam, over a third of the entire world's helium supply just disappears from the market. It's a classic single point of failure, and it's a huge one.
And it's not just helium. The same attack knocked out something like 17% of Qatar's LNG, that's liquefied natural gas, export capacity. That is a massive blow to the global energy market, and it's got countries all over the world worried about their energy security.
Now, you might be thinking, okay, they'll just fix it, right? Well, this isn't a quick patch-up job. The damage is so bad that they're projecting it'll take 3 to 5 years to get back online. So the fallout from this, the shortages, the crazy price swings for both gas and helium, we're going to be feeling this for a long, long time.
So why are we even talking about helium, a gas for balloons, right? Wrong. Why does this shortage matter so much for the tech world? Well, because this invisible little gas is the unsung hero, and it is absolutely irreplaceable in pretty much the most advanced manufacturing we do on this planet.
Let me put it this way. Inside those ultra-clean semiconductor fabs, where they make the chips that run everything, there is simply no substitute for super pure helium. It's not a nice-to-have. It's a fundamental, must-have ingredient.
They use it for everything. It's a purge gas that creates these perfectly clean environments. It's used to find microscopic leaks in their vacuum systems. It's even a coolant to control temperatures with pinpoint accuracy. You mess up any one of those steps, and you just ruined a batch of silicon wafers worth millions of dollars. The stakes are incredibly high.
So what does this all mean? It means the biggest names in the game. We're talking TSMC, Samsung, SK Hynix, the companies that make the chips for your phone, your car, and especially for advanced AI, they are now staring down the barrel of a severe shortage of something they literally cannot work without.
Okay, so let's connect the dots. How does a shortage of helium in Qatar cascades into a full-blown, two-pronged crisis for the AI industry? Let's break it down.
So the first shock is all about production. With helium suddenly becoming a scarce resource, these chip fabs can't just run full steam ahead on everything. They're forced to make some really tough calls about what gets made and what gets put on the back burner.
And you can probably guess where this is going. When resources get tight, you prioritize the stuff that makes you the most money. And right now, that's high-margin AI accelerators and high-bandwidth memory. So all that scarce helium, it's going to get funneled right there. The casualty in all this? Standard memory chips for your everyday gadgets. We could see some serious shortages there. But wait, there's more. At the exact same time, you've got the second shock, the energy crisis. Remember the LNG disruption? Well, AI data centers are insanely power hungry. They were already dealing with grid connection delays of like 3 to 5 years and shortages of critical gear like transformers. Now add volatile natural gas prices to the mix. Suddenly, their backup power is way more expensive, and their entire financial model, construction costs, operating costs, it's all thrown into chaos. So, as you can imagine, this whole situation is forcing a massive rethink. I'm talking a fundamental shift in strategy for basically everyone in tech and energy. The old playbook, the one that was all about being lean and efficient, yeah, that's getting tossed right out the window. The new game is all about survival.
What we're seeing here is a huge, historic pivot in real time. For decades, the mantra was just in time. Keep inventory low, be as efficient as possible. Now, it's all about just in case. It's about building in buffers, having backups, and planning for things to go wrong. Resilience is the new efficiency.
And this isn't just talk, some theory from a business school. Companies are actually doing this stuff. They're scrambling to sign long-term diversified LNG contracts. They're fast-tracking the installation of helium recycling systems inside their own fabs. They're even hiring geopolitical experts to help them map out these worst-case scenarios. It's become a core part of doing business.
And that, right there, is the new reality in 2026. You could have the most brilliant, game-changing chip design in the world, but it doesn't mean a thing if you can't get the helium to actually manufacture it or the stable electricity to run the data center it lives in. Your physical supply chain, your energy, your materials, is now just as strategically important as your code.
So the whole mess at Ras Laffan, it ripped the cover off this one shocking vulnerability, right? It showed us exactly how a distant conflict can threaten the future of AI. And the question that should keep all of us up at night is, what's next? What other hidden dependencies, what other fragile choke points are just sitting out there in our global supply chain, waiting for the next crisis to expose them?